and welcome. I'm Esmeralda Luna, your career pause coach, mom of two, and founder of New Horizon Moms. This community exists to empower moms just like you who've stepped away from work to be home with your little ones so that you can turn your career pause into an opportunity for growth and professional fulfillment. Today, we're talking about a simple but powerful self-care practice for a mom's mental health, nature journaling. Journaling has been shown to lower stress, reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, and build emotional resilience, making it a powerful mental health tool. As moms, there's constant to-do lists running in the back of our minds, and that can be exhausting, which is why having an outlet matters so much. When we capture our thoughts and feelings on paper, it helps us to step out of that mental overwhelm and process our emotions more clearly. I am happy to introduce Tatiana Castro. She is an environmental educator with over 10 years of experience in informal education within museum and garden settings. With a passion for science communication and environmental education, she founded Teachings by Tatiana to merge cultural awareness with hands-on learning. Her learning experiences are designed to engage children and families, helping them connect with nature through the dual lenses of art and science. And Tatiana and I met at the Mujeres de Ace Entrepreneur Program. Let's watch a clip about her business and see her work in action.
To grow, and then as they kind of ripen, then they turn this very beautiful purple color.
It's so stunning.
I know, it's beautiful.
And the flowers are really cute too. They're like little baby purple.
Well, I don't see any flowers right now, but
they bloom. They bloom really pretty
they come out
too.
bigger.
This is the biggest beauty berry bush I've seen.
It's gorgeous.
It's
Birds love these, butterflies love these, so this is another great one you can have in your landscaping somehow.
I love that.
Welcome, Tatiana.
Thank you so much, Esmeralda. It's so nice to speak with you today.
Tatiana, can you start off by sharing with our audience what made you decide to become an environmental educator and to create Teachings by Tatiana?
Absolutely. So the origins of Teachings by Tatiana starts at my earliest years. Ever since I was a kid, I've been super connected to the outdoors and the environment. And I think one of the moments that sort of flipped the switch for me was in the 5th grade. I participated in my school's science club, and one of our projects for that year was to develop a garden on our school's grounds. So that was the first time I ever worked with a shovel, put on gardening gloves, worked with mulch. And this is always a funny memory because I don't know if you've ever smelled wet mulch before, but it has a very distinct smell. And that's just something that has never gone away. But that direct opportunity to work with the earth outside and just feel that connection to nature was so impactful. I was like, how do I make this a part of my life forever? So I was very fortunate to have my calling come to me very early. So I focused my studies on learning more about science education and how to make people feel comfortable outdoors and guide these educational experiences that can happen outside of a classroom. So about 2.5 years ago, I was very fortunate to be in a position where after many years of working in botanic gardens and museum spaces, I thought, hey, what if I started my own business doing this work that I have been a part of for such a long time? And so that's how Teachings by Tatiana was born. And my mission is to rekindle children and their families' love for nature in experiences that like the slide said, are looking through a lens of art and science, and most of all, bringing together these groups of people I find are such beautiful kind of communities to encourage conversations between generations and kind of get us thinking more about the world around us. So they're really powerful experiences that I hope to provide, and sprinkling in a little bit of knowledge here and there about what's going on around us.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Tatiana. So I want to start the conversation by asking you, many moms struggle to find quiet moments for themselves. So can you share with us how nature journaling can create that space for calm and reflection in our day?
Absolutely. So I'd like to start by explaining a little bit more about what nature journaling is. And it's your run-of-the-mill journaling, but the idea is that you are considering nature in a way that gets you curious, you ask questions, um, make a lot of observations, and kind of take that step to be really present in the moment. So it's regular journaling, just considering nature. And what I love about it is that it can be done in so many different ways. And throughout this conversation, I hope I can really kind of drive home how I think nature journaling is such a low barrier to entry. You don't have to be a scientist, you don't have to live in a national park. It can be done by looking outside of your window. It's as easy as that.
Yeah.
So in my case, what I really love about the practice for myself is as much as I am sort of in tune with nature and really um, kind of have that sense for being in the outdoors, um, having that opportunity to really sit down, grab my journal, and say, hey, let me really look at what's going on around me and consider the weather, what sounds I hear, how I'm feeling is always something that I try to reflect on as well. Um, Humans are nature too, so that doesn't get out of the equation, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a way that really physically helps me slow down. And by doing that, it calms my mind. I get a little bit more reflective. And, you just let the ideas flow, which is something that I find really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for pointing out that we don't have to be experts in this and that it can be a fairly easy thing to do. So I'm excited to learn more. From your experience, what makes combining time in nature with journaling such a powerful tool for reducing stress and anxiety?
Hmm. Well, I really strongly believe that nature is healing, and in whichever way we interact with it, um, you can find that sort of sense of peace and a little bit of calmness in your life. And like I said, this can take so many forms. I feel like I live in an apartment to kind of give context. And so even though I don't necessarily have an outdoor space to be in all the time, when I water my plants or I pet my cats, these are still ways I can kind of connect with nature. And again, you can do that outdoors if you walk around your neighborhood or go to a park and take it even further.
Yes.
Um, so I think in the case of just our current society and the hustle and bustle of life, this act of nature journaling is really an invitation to slow down um, and take a moment for yourself, which is really wonderful. And not only is it something that, like I said, has a really low barrier of entry, but it's a very low time commitment as well. You really don't have to spend a half hour or an hour dedicated to journaling if you don't have the time, but maybe 5 minutes while you're drinking your coffee or at the end of the day, you can easily fit in this practice.
That's great. So the key is something, keep it simple, and it doesn't have to be time consuming either.
Absolutely.
When a mom first starts journaling outdoors, what shifts do you notice in their mindset or emotional well-being?
Hmm. Well, I think what happens in our minds, it can be very diverse, depending on what you're going through, what you have going on. But I really think starting with that sense of mindfulness and awareness that happens when you're really putting yourself in that position of observing where you are and what's going on, um, can hopefully help settle your mind a little bit. And like I said, I can't say that's the case for everyone, but I think that's something that, we just don't always do. We're always thinking about what's the next step? What do I have going on tomorrow or later on today? So even that sense of awareness of like, okay, right now, what is happening, um, can be an invitation to just slow down a little bit and kind of take stock of what's going on. And my hope, through the education I provide, but even through the practice of nature journaling, is that you gain a sense of your internal awareness, but then hopefully you learn a little bit about your environment out of your home or inside of your home as well. You just
Mhm.
kind of like maybe open up that kind of layer of yourself that's saying, hey, I hear this bird sound, or like, wow, my plant grew a new leaf. And you just have that extra touch of mindfulness that you can take on at any point of your day and the days that follow.
Yeah, I love that. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the day to day and our activities that noticing those little details, that those gifts even that nature
Mm,
gives us, you're right, can really help us to step back and get some perspective, especially if we've had a hectic morning, or you know that what's coming later in your day is going to keep you really busy. So I really like how you focused on that aspect of self-reflection. Can you, Tatiana, share an example of how observing those small details, like the bird song or the leaves, how can that help us feel more grounded, more present?
mm. Well, I kind of mentioned this in my last response, but that little sense of awareness I think can go a long way.
Mhm.
And if you get into the practice of being a little bit more mindful in this sense and just kind of taking stock of little details as we were mentioning, hopefully this is something that can kind of happen instinctually if you don't already have that within you. So you can say, hey, let me take a moment here. What am I feeling? What's going on? Um, and I think the sense of curiosity that comes from journaling and sort of asking questions is also a beautiful practice that can come into everyday life. Sometimes I find myself thinking, hey, why am I feeling this way as I react to a
Mm.
situation? Or
Yeah.
um, maybe as I'm exploring the outdoors, I'm thinking, hey, I'm walking a little bit too fast. Maybe I should slow down. It's like that level of um, knowing yourself a little bit is something that I think is a really big benefit to this practice, and it's really personal too. So it's not um, you don't necessarily need to be aspiring to reach a certain goal or have to journal every single day to get the benefits. The little bit that you do to dedicate to this practice and to yourself, I feel like are all great steps in a direction to be more present, grounded, and hopefully, like I said, this translate into other areas of your life.
Yes, yeah, I think you've hit a very important point about that everyone's experience doing this is going to be different, and there's no right or wrong way of doing this. The important part is that you do take a moment to give yourself that moment of pause, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, exactly.
And some moms might think that they're not artistic enough to do nature journaling, but what would you encourage them to start anyway?
Mm. I really love that you included this question because I myself go through the same hurdle. I don't find myself to be particularly artistic, and I'm a perfectionist as well, which is something I'm trying to get through. And it can be challenging to be faced with, your pen and paper and have
Yeah.
all these complex ideas and really wanting to, you know, make a beautiful page.
Mhm.
Um, and you just have to sort of think, okay, I'm going to meet myself where I am in this moment. Um, and with journaling, I really would like to emphasize as well, it can look like anything. It could just be words. That's the style I usually take because I'm not so much of a drawer. But if you want to explore with getting some sort of images or pictures on your page, just try drawing, even if it looks like not exactly quite what you're going for. I think the act of doing it is really a beautiful thing to try to challenge yourself, accept where your talents are in the moment. And I find it's kind of like a muscle as well. The more you might try drawing or exploring different methods of note taking, you'll just get better and better each time. But I did want to share one method of getting images on a page, which is so much fun and super easy that anyone can do. So even if you're not, where you want to be artistically, I think this is a great option. Um, a technique called a leaf rubbing. This is a technique where you kind of sandwich a leaf, or it could even be a flower if it's not too fragile, underneath the paper, and then using a colored pencil or a crayon, you literally just rub really hard onto the paper to kind of get this imprint, and it creates this really beautiful detail, which gets you almost that exact image of whatever the leaf or flower it is you're observing. So this is such a fun way to bring in that artistic element if you want to incorporate that on your page. But you can kind of see from my other illustrations here on the other side of the page, this is not like a scientific illustration of a duck or a cardinal, but you're getting some of the colors, you're getting the shapes. So that works just as well, uh, this example here, I have a little acorn that I just put on the paper like flat, and then I just drew a circle around it and measured um, the width. So that's another way you can incorporate some sort of images as well. But leaf rubbings are really fun, and what I love about them too is that not only are they easy, but if you have a child in your life and you want to introduce them to nature journaling as well, they can easily do it. If they can hold a pencil or a crayon, or maybe if you help them do it, that's super fun and can take up such a wonderful opportunity if you're ever outdoors or have some sort of plant material you want to work with.
Yeah, I love that idea because not only can you take that opportunity to exercise those creative muscles, that you were talking about, but your kids can do that as well. So they can watch mom do that. And I like this idea of grab something that you see in nature and let's get an imprint. And I'm sure I can picture my kids being really excited to grab a crayon and just, work on scratching through and trying to get that image and experimenting with different shapes or other objects that we see in nature. So that's a great idea. I'm going to take a note of that to try that with my little ones here soon.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Now, how does consistently taking time to do nature journaling support our long-term mental health benefits? So by doing this, for example, weekly or daily, what benefits can you see long-term of doing this?
Mhm. Well, first, I want to say I'm not a mental health professional, but I do see so much beauty and joy that can come from journaling on some sort of regular basis.
Mhm.
And something else I would like to mention, uh, because this comes up often for me as well, is like as much as I love to talk about nature journaling and um, explain why it's such a fun thing to do. I don't do it often myself. I wish I did it much more. So I say this to also bring up that nature journaling is something so nice because it's always something you can go back to. If it's been a few days, a week, or a month, I've gone quite a few months without nature journaling in between, and that just happens.
Yes.
Um, and so that's just a really inviting thing. It's like you can always pick it up when you want to. But if you're able to do it on a semi-regular basis, however it kind of fits into your schedule,
Mhm.
um, I find that the world opens up a little bit more for myself, in the sense that I, the curiosity that comes from um, observing nature in some way, of taking
Yes.
down notes, I don't know, it helps me think a little bit differently. So even
Mhm.
like yesterday, for example, I went out to the park and I was just looking in the trees because I heard a lot of bird sounds and I
Mhm.
noticed an iguana up in the branches. And this might kind of sound surprising. So for context, I do live in Miami, so it's a little bit unique over here,
Yeah.
but you would imagine my surprise. I'm just looking at leaves and then all of a sudden you see like a long reptile body,
Yeah.
and I think nature journaling has helped me to be a little more analytical, I guess might be a good word, or
Mhm.
observant, even in these moments, whether I'm outdoors or indoors, um, to really just kind of take a second and just kind of take stock and say, oh wow, look at this beautiful tree. Oh wait, this is different. Or maybe in the case like if you are indoors, maybe it's winter where you are and you can't always go outside.
Yes.
For example, if you do have pets or plants. I know sometimes I just kind of stare at my cat sometimes. I am a very enthusiastic cat parent, but sometimes I look at my pets and I'm like, hey, you're doing something different than the day before. What's going on here, you know?
Yes.
So I think with just kind of exercising that muscle of awareness, of observation, of curiosity, you just start to see that come up in many areas of your life. And hopefully that makes you feel a little bit more um, kind of present, maybe gives you a sense of joy for
Mhm.
noticing something new, or perhaps um, I don't know, maybe you want to take action and say, hey, I noticed something new. Let me do something about this. And hopefully it does reduce stress. I really find that it's something that can be meditative and really peaceful. Like I said, it's really low pressure. So my hope is that this doesn't add too much to your plate, but I can understand maybe with the sense of awareness, you're like, well, this is too much. I just want to sort of be. And I think
Yeah.
nature journaling can also invite that too, of just saying, hey, let's sit in the moment. What's going on? We don't need to do anything about it. We're just here embracing the moment as it is, and then carry on with your time.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great way to reflect on this experience of doing nature journaling, and that you also shouldn't feel like if it's something bad if you can't do this on a frequent basis, but that when you get the opportunity to do this, that like you said, it allows you that moment of pause to reflect and to be creative and look at things perhaps in a different way than you would have in the past.
Mhm.
Thank you, Tatiana, for sharing all that information with us and helping us understand a little bit more about nature journaling. And so, for our audience, Tatiana has graciously provided a free gift, which is a nature journaling as a tool for well-being guide. So, Tatiana, I'll let you share with our audience what this freebie includes.
Absolutely. Yes, I had so much fun creating this guide. So it touches on a few points that we were already talking about before, of kind of taking it slow, meeting yourself where you're at, and shows a few techniques and tools and tricks you can use in your own nature journaling practice. So my hope is that this guide really kind of gives you that foundation to start nature journaling if you haven't already. And maybe if this is something that you've explored before, if you're already kind of someone who likes to be outside and observe nature, this will be a wonderful kind of partner in your learning journey. And ultimately, I just hope that this practice of nature journaling can empower you to take that time for yourself, take that time to really embrace your environment, whether you're in the city, in a suburban area, or maybe in a rural area. Nature is everywhere. And like I said at the beginning, we are nature too. So, we're all intertwined. And that sense of curiosity and knowledge that you can gain from this practice, I think, is really beautiful. Um, in the guide as well, I have a sample worksheet. If you may want sort of like a cheat sheet template to get you started, that's already prepared for you. And I hope that really can open your eyes to um, practicing the art of nature journaling, slowing down and being present, and even doing this with your loved ones. So, like I said as well, this is something super fun that people of all ages can do. And for little ones, you can get super creative with it You can make your own journals, use leaves as pages in a book. Like the opportunities are endless. And I have a few extra resources in the guide as well if you want to take it a step further, especially with little ones in your life. So I think it'll be just a really wonderful gift to really get you started and help you incorporate this into your life.
Oh, this sounds so great, Tatiana. Thank you so much for taking the time to prepare this freebie for our audience. And for those of you watching, you'll be able to download this freebie in the link provided in the description of this video. And so now if you'd like to get in touch with Tatiana, here is how you can do that. You can reach out to Tatiana through her Instagram page at Teachings by Tatiana. You can also learn more about nature journaling and the other events and teachings on Tatiana's YouTube channel. Search for Teachings by Tatiana. You can also reach out to her through email and her website, teachingsbytatiana.com. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Tatiana, for your time and for helping us to learn more about nature journaling, its benefits, and how we can incorporate this activity into our busy lives as moms. And we can find this opportunity not only to give back to ourselves, and how we can also teach this powerful tool to our children and to our loved ones. And so thank you so much, everyone. We hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. If this discussion resonated with you, hit like and subscribe to the New Horizon Moms channel for more career pause empowerment. See you soon.